Semis and towns, the in-between sector of the real estate market. This segment of the market is a fantastic way to see where the market's trending. Stay tuned to this episode of Prime Property TV. Promise you it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Property TV. I'm so glad you could join us here. It's been 2 months since I've had my surgery to remove my appendix, and the doctor finally cleared me to go to the gym, and my bandages are finally off. What an interesting time of the year. It was a great time and a reminder for everybody, including myself, that we get one body and we must treat it well. Either way, good start to the year being able to go back to the gym. In today's episode, we'll be going over the last segment of the market for the year-end review. We'll be discussing the semis and the towns. We all know the crazy story of the detaches, the most expensive part of the market, and the relentless rise of the condos, the most affordable part of the market. And today we'll be talking about everything in between. The semis, like the detaches, took a little bit of a hit in April after the foreign buyers tax, but quickly rebounded in prices and activity right after October. The prices of a Toronto semi is still up about $2,000 on average from the start of the year, and it's on an upward trend right now. This upward trend may not last that long, as a stress test when we see in January at the end of this month could reduce the price slightly. Same goes for activity. The semis are around $900,000 in the 416 and $600,000 in the 905, which feels like a slight stretch for couples may make to buy a home for their future family. However, since the stress has kicked in, I can see some couples being priced out of that sector in the semi already. It's going to be unfortunate because even the semis could be reserved for the wealthy at this point. Now in the 905, we again see, similar to the detaches, we notice a dip in prices, but really not that significant, about $29,000 from the start of the year, or 5% of the price. What I've noticed is that as land is becoming increasingly unavailable for developers to purchase, the only style of new houses being built in subdivisions now are really large detaches that cost a fortune and are really big, or really big and small stacked townhomes. The semi is basically slowly being eliminated out of the market. Let's move on to the towns. The townhome is basically what I see as a compromise between raising a family in a condo and not being able to afford a semi or a detached. Many families realized that when they were priced out of detached and the semi-detached market, townhomes were really the only way you want to go and can go unless you wanted to raise a family in a condo. Yes, you have neighbors on both sides of your wall, but you still have a freehold property you can call your own. Especially since this market is under $800,000 in the Toronto proper 416. So not to my surprise, there's an increase in average price in towns last year, up $102,000 over the year, or 15.5%. That's even higher than condos, and yet nobody talked about them all year long. We have to remember the shift to affordability means people are buying smaller and less expensive properties, but if they can find a freehold property which is not a condo in the 416, there's a very high likelihood they will want to buy it. Looking at numbers, if you bought a townhome in August, that was probably the lowest that you'll probably see it for a while, and all trends are pointing up for in the towns in the 416 now. I do see this trend being sustained throughout the new year as well, because it's a last-ditch effort at owning a freehold property in Toronto before it's basically condos forever. Now, looking at the 905, similar to the semis, detaches, we saw a little bit of a dip. As people aren't getting their white picket fence dream in the 905, the commute to the city doesn't make sense anymore. That isn't worth the compromise, especially to many millennials. We saw the prices drop $18,000 from $604 to $586, or about 2%, which, similar to semis, isn't all that big of a deal. I do see that prices may continue to drop since that price point here is about the same as the average condo in 416. So it's strictly depending on who the buyer is, whether you want to have the commute or not, or more space or not. With the millennial generation opting to start families later on in life and potentially not even starting any at all, the 905 towns could be not getting love for quite a long time. So that wraps up the annual year-end review of the market and of each segment of the market. I hope that gives you some light on where the market is trending towards in 2018. Really, for 2018, I highly recommend you guys don't read any of the headlines for the average prices as market for the whole, because you know what, like if you watched every episode, every single sector of the market is going to be different. I doubt there's one underlying stat or number that is going to say everything about the market. Thank you guys for watching. If you learned something, give me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to Prime Property TV. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. And make sure you guys subscribe to the Prime Property TV VIP mailing list for first access to investment opportunities and weekly insights. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time, happy real estating. I have my appendix removed and the dot doctor.